Hey, yo, what's going on, guys? We have a brand new episode of Buy or Bust today. We're going to be talking about Hydra Stomper, the last time we do have Spotlight caches. So we're going to be going over that as well, giving you guys 3 different decks, some key counters and synergies, the floor, ceiling, the good and the bad. But let's go ahead and jump right into it. In case you guys did not know, Hydra Stomper is the brand new Series 5 card releasing on Tuesday. That is a 3-cost, 2-powered card. Ongoing +1 power for each time one of your cards moved this game. They use Silk on screen here as an example as we look over the gameplay of Hydra Stomper itself. I'm very interested to see if this does work with Scream or not. I know the text is your cards that moved, so I wonder if you have possession of the cards when they move when it comes to like the Scream, like a Polaris kind of interaction there, or a Stegron. I know Spider-Man, it'll, of course, count Spider-Man moving because Spider-Man moves itself. I don't know necessarily if it'll count the card that Spider-Man pulled. But that is Hydra Stomper. Going into some key synergies for this card, we do have the good old Heimdall Werewolf by Night. Okay, so I'm talking about Heimdall here, of course. Heimdall moves every single card on your side of the board to the left, so every single card that moves would proc for your Hydra Stomper, as well as Hydra Stomper moving should count for him moving as well, because it says for each card on the board. It doesn't say each other, and like if we go back to it, it doesn't say each other, but keep going forward. We do have Werewolf by Night. Every single time Werewolf by Night moves, which of course is every time there's an on-reveal card, Werewolf moves to that location, which might be maybe even a little easier to do than necessarily moving a bunch of individual cards the entire game. It's just moving one card to be able to give you the value for your Hydra Stomper. And of course, Madam Web. Madam Web is just another great enabler. And also in Spotlights this week, if you do not have Madam Web and you do not update your game, which we'll talk about a little bit more later on in the video, you can move a card off of Madam Web's location once per turn, which can give you some value for your Hydra Stomper as well. But of course, there are some counters for this card. Starting off, we do have Red Guardian. Red Guardian targets the lowest powered card in his lane, removes their text, and makes them lose 2 power as well. If you didn't know that, Shang-Chi, if Hydra Stomper gets too big, Shang-Chi can, hit your Hydra Stomper. And Enchantress, it's an ongoing ability, so Enchantress can just eradicate whatever power you've gotten because it's just ongoing, or Rogue could also steal the ability. We don't have Rogue on screen here, but it's another just counter card. Now let's talk about the good and the bad. Starting, of course, off with the good. It's an ongoing ability in the sense where you don't have to play this card out on curve for its ability to work. Same as like a Morbius, a Null, a Darkhawk. You just can play this out later in the game, and it is an ongoing ability, so it happens as things happen. It's not an on reveal where it has to be played on a certain point to be able to have it work. So that's really great for this card. Of course, secondly, it has high power potential. It is, of course, based on you moving cards, but the ceiling for this card can be pretty high, just depending on how your game flows in and out and what deck you're kind of playing. There's lots of ways to move cards, whether it is the Werewolf, whether it is like a Ghost Spider, Iron Fist, Aranya, Madam Web, Hercules, Zorn. When Zorn comes out, if it releases the same way he's data mined, and also it's a plug-in. It's something you can kind of just plug into a move. I know the 3 slot's a little funky, which we're talking about, of course, when it comes to the bad as well. You cards do have to be moved in order for this ability to work, and it's your cards. 3-cost slot can be tough. It's a decent card slot, but also can be tough. I mean, look at Hercules. Hercules still has a 3-cost, and we're not seeing as much Hercules, but also you don't really necessarily need that mover when you have Aranya and Madam Web as well. So that's very interesting just to think about there. It can be tough just depending on what you're playing. The power can be turned off. Enchantress is more popular now, not necessarily at her peak, of course. Red Guardian is still incredibly popular, so if you are playing this out on curve, it is probably likely you are going to get Red Guardian on this card. And then Scream, of course, is extremely popular. Even after the nerf, Scream is still good. So, like, you're going to have a lot of Scream, especially this week as well, and people are trying to do a bunch of Hydra Stomper things. So just kind of like keep that in mind. But let's talk about the floor and the ceiling for this card. So on the top end for this card, you play it out. It doesn't have to be on curve. That's why I say just play out. And you've had 6 or more moves. If you have 6 moves, this card goes to a 3-8. 3-8, similar to a Gladiator, is pretty good stats. I think you could probably move more than 6 cards in the game on the high end, of course. Let's just say Werewolf by Night, you play out on curve, all right? And then you play 2 on reveals, 2 on reveal 1 cost, and you play a Falcon. That is going to be 3 moves for Werewolf by Night. Hydra Stomper goes up 3. The next turn, you can then play those 1 cost cards again, and then potentially Beast. And that is going to be another 3 moves going over for your Werewolf. That is 6 there. And then final turn, you have all the other cards you're going to be able to play out on the board too. So I think Hydra Stomper value is going to be pretty easy to get this kind of like ceiling, I say, at like 6 or more just moves. I think 3 to 5, it says 6 on screen here, but it's 3 to 5, is a pretty good average. I think you're going to get close to 3. 3-5 is solid. A 3-6 is good. 3-7 is also good. But on your low end, let's say you don't have a lot of moves that game, it's a 3-2, which is not great stat lines. 3-3's okay. 3-4, So like you don't really want the low end, but like on the low end, that's like 1-2 moves a game. I think you're gonna see more of the middle high. That's also why I have like 6 here in the middle and in the ceiling, because I feel like 6 is still like the top end of this. But with that in mind, I did use Werewolf by Night as an example because the first deck we have is a Werewolf by Night deck, which is Hydra by Night. It's kind of an older kind of bounce kind of package with Werewolf. You also have Sage and Hydra Stomper. You have Black Swan for your 1 cost to be able to play later in the game as well. You have your Bast hitting your Beast and your Agent Venom. Probably not what you really want, but, you know, Agent Venom also gives you value for a lot of these 1 cost cards. Yes, like, I don't think you really care, honestly, though, like, if your Agent Venom or your Beast get hit with Bast, because you have these other scalers just to help you go kind of crazy. And, you know, Toxin, of course, just got, you know, buffed recently as well. So I think, like, this just has some pretty solid value over here. It'll be interesting to see if this kind of style is the Werewolf kind of Hydra Stomper home, or if this is where this card settles, but it's definitely what I'm going to be trying at first. Next, we do have Hydra Ball, which is like a small ball, just move list over here, move bounce, which of course is your standard package where you have, you know, your Falcon, your Beast, your Frigga, you have the Madam Webs, you have the Torch, you have the Dagger, you have the Vulture as an alternate, and then you have Hydra Stomper as another just card you can kind of slot in there as well. I mean, you see a lot of interactions where it is turn 2, and you already have Aranya on the board, and you move Human Torch twice with an Iron Fist and an Aranya, or potentially even an Aranya Ghost Spider, and then you set up into the Madam Web, and then you get the Frigga stuff. Like, there's a bunch of really cool lines here with this where you can get your Hydra Stomper fairly huge. I mean, that's 2 moves for Torch on turn 2, potentially, so Hydra Stomper gets +2. And then you potentially even Doctor Strange it, or you Falcon it, and I think your Human Torch moves at least another 2 or 3 times. Your Hydra Stomper then is going to a 3-4 or a 3-6, 3-8. Like, I'm telling you, it's going to like start snowballing and snowballing. So I like that here, and you have a bunch of different lines. You have Dagger as well. You can copy those with Frigga because those are the last cards you played. You know, just move bounce things. And then next we do have a Phoenix Force list, okay? So I have Hydra Stomper in Phoenix Force, which you guys may not think is the most ideal, but just bear with me, okay? So Human Torch, of course, you can get an additional move with it becoming the Phoenix Force itself. You can move it by itself on that turn, and then you can also play your Doctor Strange, and you move it again. But what you're really going to get your bread and butter with this deck is going to be with Multiple Man. Because Multiple Man turning into the Phoenix Force, when the Multiple Man moves to another location, you get another Phoenix Force. And with that in mind, of course, as well, that means those are going to be multiple bodies on the board that you can final turn Heimdall your Multiple Man, which are additional cards moving across the board to buff up your Hydra Stomper. This is, of course, way more combo heavy than some of these other decks, but I do think there is going to be some solid value there as well. If you don't hit your Human Torch or your Multiple Man, you can also destroy your Hulkbuster. Destroying your Hulkbuster does enable you to, whenever that latches onto a Human Torch or a Multiple Man, those become the Phoenix Force. Get the extra power of the Hulkbuster, and then you can move those around. So you have the value there, but I think this could be another just at least fun deck to play. I know there's still Cosmo and stuff running around, which makes this deck a little less viable than some of the other move decks, but I think there is definitely something here when it comes to like Hydra Stomper Phoenix Force. But let's go ahead and talk about the Spotlight Week. Well, all right. We have the last Spotlight Week ever because snap packs also come out the same day that Hydra Stomper releases. If you guys do not update your game, I mean, do not update your game. That is the only way you guys will be able to open Spotlight caches to potentially get these cards. If you do update your game, I believe you will only have Hydra Stomper in your snap packs. No Aranya, no Madam Web. So keep that in mind. And when it comes to these 3 cards, I do think what they do is strong. Aranya, of course, has had a couple nerfs now. She only gives +1 power, but moves a card to the right. And of course, it is an activate, but it still helps giving you that move to the right function, as well as Madam Web being a great enabler to be able to move cards to any other location at least once per turn to have you another enabler, which I still think is pretty strong in that shell. Like I said, Cosmo is still very popular right now, which makes it a little bit tougher to play some of these move kind of shells in a sense because of Cosmo, us with Right Guardian, and a lot of cards just being more, vertically scalers right now. But I think these are still 2 solid cards to have in your collection if you do not have them, and if you do enjoy move. The variants, I think, are actually pretty good too. I do like the Madam Web. The Aranya is the Envar Studio Aranya, which is good. The Hydra Stomper looks nice. Reminds me of the Iron Giant. They may not be the most flexible cards, in the sense because they're more just move specific to that move just archetype. So just keep that in mind, of course. If you enjoy playing move, I think they're really solid options for you and what you should go for. But it really just depends on what you enjoy playing yourself. Moving on, though, to my just thoughts on Hydra Stomper himself. I think Hydra Stomper is a pretty strong card. I don't think it's necessarily like crazy strong. I still think like if you can get it going, it's going to be really good. But like the 3 cost is very interesting. I think when it comes to move, I like this more than some of the other 3 costs. Like I like it way more than Hercules. I can't necessarily put it on the same scale as Vulture just yet. I think until we see more of it in action, to see if it can get bigger than Vulture moving twice. I mean, getting +6 every time you move is pretty good. 2 moves, and that's a 315, where this has to have 12 cards total move, or 13 cards total move to be able to get to that same value as Vulture. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays into like just fundamental game dynamics there. Flexibility-wise, I think there's a couple different move decks you can play, so it's not completely niche to like one specific move deck, opposed to maybe like a Phoenix Force is specific to like that multiple man Human Torch. If you're just going pure move, I know Phoenix Force is flexible and I like playing Phoenix Force and other stuff, but I'm talking about just like the move kind of aspect of Phoenix Force in that sense. I don't necessarily see this card getting adjusted unless it just falls flat. Like if this card falls flat like Hercules did, then it would get adjusted. But I don't necessarily think it needs to. I think what it does can be good. Like I do think like it has potential to get some of those high ceilings for this card itself. And I do think it is a snap if you do like the move archetype. If you do not like the move archetype, I would skip. But I would also say, if you're opening snap packs this week, this is not a horrible card to get from snap packs in general. If you missed your Strange Supreme, I would have opened snap packs for then, and I think you're probably going to be opening snap packs anyways for Strange Supreme. So this isn't a bad buy to be able to get opposed to some of the other cards this season. I mean, Goliath is another one you might want to open for because the way the meta is right now, and OTA didn't really change anything with ongoing and stuff, so like that'd be good. Or if you're opening for like Sam Wilson, I think Sam Wilson like will be in some of these, snap packs too. So I think like this is a pretty good open for snap packs, but I just still want to say you do gotta like move. If you don't like move, it's not the card for you. I wouldn't snap there. Snap or pass, like Tursky, the freaking goat. But I wouldn't buy that necessarily if you do not like move. But I do want to say, as always, and I mean as always, keep in mind at the end of the day, play what you guys want to play. Get the cards that you want to get. We do have snap packs releasing, which is new. It's fresh. It's a new way to get cards. Let's see how it actually works. Let's see how the card acquisition actually runs through. I would update your games if you guys really don't care about the variants, or if you guys already have Aranya and Madam Web. I would just update the snap packs because it's just going to be better. Then opening Spotlight caches, the value is so much better, and you can get the rewards for your keys and stuff you had already, opposed to just the potential of just hitting 2,000 tokens, which is just a major feels bad. So just do that instead. But like, wait a couple days. Also, you don't have to get Hydra Stomper day 1. Wait till Glazer posts a video with 10 different decks you can use, or KM posts a video with like 10 different decks you guys can use, and then go from there and see if those are decks you'd actually enjoy playing before necessarily fully spending your resources on the card. I can be wrong about cards. The community can be wrong about cards. It happens. We don't necessarily know how the card's going to interact in the meta we have until we actually have our hands on the card. We can only look at the dev videos that show us the gameplay of them that are on a test server that, like, you know, they're just showcasing the information of what it can do. We don't necessarily know what it will do in-game fundamentally. So just keep that in mind. I wish you guys the best of luck with your snapbacks. I hope that if you guys are opening snapbacks on Tuesday, you're able to get all the cards that you do want, and you're able to make some great decks. And I hope that you're able to get cards that you haven't been able to get for a long time because they haven't been in spotlights. Like, I really hope you get them just to be able to play these decks that we all talk about. That, oh, we have 5 Series 5 cards in here. You only have 2. But hopefully you get some of those other cards you're missing. But I do want to say thank you guys so much for watching the video. We are going to still keep posting the YouTube content. Stream content's going to be on hold for just a little bit. I'm trying to continue to post YouTube content. We do finally have my son at home, so we're still readjusting the schedule. But we will have the Yap on Tuesday. It'd probably be later on Tuesday, because Dance and I do want to talk about more of Snappack stuff as well as potential data mine stuff. So just keep that in mind and bear with us. But I do want to say thank you guys so much for watching the video. If you guys did enjoy the video, definitely feel free to like, comment down below. Will you guys just be waiting for Snappacks, or are you going to be risky and are you going to try and get the variants? Please subscribe if you're new. Until the next time, it's been real. God bless, and Tucker out.